Welcome, movie matchers, to another episode of Movie Match. Are you ready to test your might? Get ready.
Alright, okay. Alright, yeah.
Whew.
Alright.
Took a lot of wind out of me, man.
By my other pair of eyes. Alright, enough without the shenanigans. We about to get started, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Movie Match. Brothers, we back at it again, man. There we go. And I think I should put some sound effects on that.
Yep.
Welcome to another episode of Movie Match. I'm excited to be here. I know the fellas, they all excited to be here. We're about to get into it again, and as always, please, we want you to follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. We want you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Hit that notification button. It'll let you know when we have another video posted. We want to hear from you. We want you to be a part of the conversation. So we are about to get right into it. Mortal Kombat. All right, let's go. Let's have that.
Let's go.
All right. I think I'm going to hit it first.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Gonna do our likes and our dislikes. So, man, this Mortal Kombat movie, I played the game when it first came out. I think it only had 7 playable characters when it came out. When it first came out, I think it was like in 1992 or something like that.
Oof.
And it had 7 playable characters, and so to see something on the screen like this in this I guess at this level, because I mean, to be honest with you, the other 2 movies was a little crap, but overall, what I did like about the movie is that they did do a reboot. I think that was pretty big, but I think the biggest thing with the movie, and I had to kind of taper my expectations because, and I've seen a lot of people who make comments about the Mortal Kombat movie, because I think that they're expecting an Endgame, Avengers, Marvel type movie, and the difference between Marvel and Avengers and the graphics and the writers and I guess the CGI graphics, everything, is that was a $300 million movie. This Mortal Kombat movie is only $50 million. So if you have a Marvel Endgame expectation coming into this film thinking it's the same thing, you're going to be disappointed. So I kind of had to taper my expectations to what the movie really was. So I thought overall the story it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I think it was kind of a stretch. The way they executed the story, they went too far left with it. I didn't like Cole's character, to be perfectly honest. To me, it didn't have any relevance to the original story of how
he was like
I understood
a brand new character, right? Like
he was created for the movie. Yeah,
brand new.
Yeah, I think they were trying to be, be creative.
Who is this?
Yeah, I get the attempt. I get the attempt of what they're trying to do, but I was looking to the true essence of what the movie or what the story of Mortal Kombat is. And I guess I'm getting into what I don't like really, because the main part of Mortal Kombat that you're looking is the battle between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. The whole Mortal Kombat arc is revolved about 2 main, I guess, rivalries: Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then you see Sonya Blade and Kano. You hear about their rivalry for the most part. So, I mean, I didn't like the fact that you only saw Sub-Zero. Sorry, spoiler alert. You saw Sub-Zero mainly at the end of the movie. That's the only time you see him. So you don't really get to see that battle between Sub-Zero and Scorpion the way that we see the whole Mortal Kombat arc, the battle that them 2 had. I mean, you kind of saw a little bit with Sonya Blade and Kano, but they started off working together or whatever, which they never liked each other because Kano killed one of Sonya Blade's friends,
partner or something,
partner or something like that, and that's the reason why they have that rivalry. And they start in that whole thing was kind of thrown away because he was a mercenary and he did some things and she captured him trying to find him. So that whole thing didn't make any sense to me. And that's how I know they kind of went far left on that one. I'm just looking at my notes here. Outworld, we didn't get to see that very much, which that's also a staple. Oh, let me backtrack a little bit.
Probably like 5 minutes of Outworld.
Yeah, just a little bit. And let me backtrack a little bit. The story behind the original Mortal Kombat was Shang Tsung was I guess he was exiled out of Outworld into the Earth realm, and he took over the Mortal Kombat tournament to Doom, I guess, to take over the Earth realm. And he was banished out of that world along with Goro. And the Earth Warriors was to battle Shang Tsung and I guess to win the tournament to keep him from taking control. That was the original story. Of course, because of the success of Mortal Kombat, the story developed, and then what's his name?
Because in the original movie, they were fighting on Earth first, right? There was like a tournament on Earth that people were part of.
Yes,
the original movie, the first film.
Yeah, the original movie, but the story kind of developed because Shao Kahn wasn't introduced until the second Mortal Kombat game, where that there's somebody, I guess, the ruler of Outworld that was actually, I guess, Shang Tsung's boss in a nutshell. So, and we saw a statue of Shao Kahn in Outworld, in the movie. And so they kind of hinted at that, but it wasn't really, I guess, big on, they didn't really show that out as him being an intricate part of the story. I guess they introduced that so that we know that there's a part 2 or whatever it is. But I just feel that, between the Sub-Zero Scorpion rivalry, I think that was the biggest letdown for me because I was really looking forward to that battle and to see that it happened just at the end. I mean, you saw what happened at the beginning.
That was them at the beginning.
It was them at the beginning. It was
right?
Their names Bihan and Hanzo.
Bihan, which is Sub-Zero, and Hanzo.
And Hanzo, which was a Scorpion. You saw that battle or whatever, and you see that Bihan already had his ice powers.
His Arcana.
His Arcana, correct. And even that whole thing was a little bit weird to me. Development of the Arcana, and
it was like the Metachlorian count from Star Wars. They just
and only those who bear the dragon mark could access that power and
Arcana.
Yeah, it was just I could tell that they were really trying to be deep with it, and they wrote out a story that honestly, for true Mortal Kombat fans, it could have been I could see why it could have been a disappointment to them, because it's really nothing like the story. The fighting sequences was pretty good. I can't knock that, and the background of Bihan and Hanzo, and they're legit martial artists, so we know that the fighting was going to be pretty dope. But besides that, I didn't get that. And then to me, Raiden was a little bit too soft for me. I don't know. He just didn't seem that all powerful as he's supposed to be. But I think he was more all powerful in the other 2 movies that previously.
Oh yeah, especially the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah,
that's really what's my take on it. I just think that where they failed is that that we didn't really see much of the fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and then because that's supposed to me, all the I guess the build up, promotion, everything show that it's going to be circled around that. And then we didn't really see Shang Tsung fight either. I mean, besides him, I guess killing what's his name,
Kung Lao.
But we didn't really see.
But that wasn't even the fight though. He just kind of just picked him up and took his soul. So it wasn't
even that was just like, it was like, all right, that was just too quick. Like this is
the movie moved like super quick. It was just like, next thing you know, it's like, okay, this is the final battle, and okay, now it's done. And okay, well, I mean, I had my I guess feeling after the movie was like, oh well, okay, for a $50 million movie, He could have wrote the story a lot better, but you know, it is what it is. But that's pretty much my take on that. So,
but that's the thing, though. Even with a budget, man, you can still do a lot because if you've seen the movie, what's the if you've seen Upgrade, right? That movie had a small budget, but they used it. You know, they use it pretty
in the
well.
right places.
You know,
the right places.
They use it in the right places, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, that's how you can tell how important writing is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, to have, you know, really good writers. And I guess, you know, the bigger your budget, you can get better writers. But at the same time, if you really take the time and put the effort to it, and you can't go wrong by sticking with the original story. You know, by sticking with it, you can't go wrong. And I think when you try to add fluff to it to make it deep, because like, you know, how he can get his arcana, you know, you have to draw from something that you're connected to, and you know, Kano, it was his anger, and that's what made him, you know, and it was his family. He saw his Cole saw his family in danger, and all of a sudden he gets this I got this whack armor. I don't know. It almost reminded me of Black Panther suit.
Yeah, like
it absorbs the I guess the impact, and he gets to, you know, I guess turn that you know.
Hold on, question. You brought up Kano, and I haven't played the first game. The laser shooting out his eye, was that a part of his power in the game, or was it just like a?
Yeah, it was part of it, because you know how you know, Liu Kang had the fireball.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And Sonya has the rings. Yeah, Sonya has the rings, and he has the laser eye. But I think he mainly uses for his fatality.
I don't remember. Only fatality I remember is him pulling the heart out in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I don't remember that. But so yeah, I guess I'll pick up since I kind of jumped in already. But yeah, as far as likes is concerned, I like the setup at the very beginning. And I guess that can count as a like and dislike, because it's like you have this great setup, you know, where the man comes to your village, kills your whole family, kills off your bloodline. So it shows that there's a history between the two bloodlines. It doesn't quite give you any detail, which I kind of wish it would have. But again, you know, I'm the type of person, you don't have to spell everything out for me. I mean, it would have been nice to see how that rivalry started, but at least, you know, it's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's, you know, the reason why he wanted to kill off all the bloodline of his rivals so that, you know, his bloodline remains the only one left out of everyone. So I get it. You know, of course, you know, the way they fought was pretty dope. You know, I kind of want to see how Sub-Zero got his powers, or where he, you know, like that's the part that I really wanted to see. But again, like I said, it's Sub-Zero. We know he has ice powers, you know, but whatever, that's fine. But I do love the setup, the way he fought, you know, killed him off, and then, you know,
But I would have been, but to that point though, I would have been happier if it wasn't based on Arcana. Like, it was just based off of, they just developed that sort of power within themselves.
Over time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just, for lack of a better word, metahumans. They just had powers, period, type of deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then so that setup was pretty dope. And then Raiden shows up and takes the baby. Honestly, with that, I'm just like, okay, what is he doing? Like, how did he just show up there? Why did he just show up there and just grab the baby and leave? Of course, they explained it later on. But just the fact that he just appeared out of nowhere was just kind of weird to me. I mean, it was just a little weird, but whatever. Another thing I liked is I liked Kano as a character. Like, he was funny, you know,
he was hilarious.
His quips, and you know, I remember
before
the film came out, they were interviewing the director, and the director said that, you know, he's pretty much a comic relief in the movie, and a lot of the stuff that he did was, you know, was improv. You know, I'm not sure who the actor is. I'm pretty sure I've seen him somewhere before, but he was pretty funny. You know, that fight that they had with Reptile in the basement, I thought that was pretty cool. You know, and then the way that they used the flare to light him up so that they could see Rey, and the Kano did his fatality. You know, that was pretty good. Then the fight at the end, where finally Sub-Zero and Scorpion, when they went head to head, I thought that was cool. You know, because again, that's what I've been waiting on for the whole movie. And again, that's why I said it's like it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing at the same time, because you set this up and then you just go completely, to the other side, and I'm like, okay, where's Scorpion? Okay, he's been in hell this whole time, and then he just shows up, and I'm like, I think they explained it in the movie. I can't really remember, but he just shows up, and then they start fighting. I'm like, okay, the fight is cool.
I think what happened there was that I guess because that guy had his knife, and the knife cut his blood, and I think his blood kind of
so like summoned him kind of thing.
Summoned. Because remember the prophecy was like the bloodline of Scorpion, and with the new champions will beat, I guess, Shang Tsung and the Outworlders, whatever. So I guess that when he got cut, that's what kind of activated Scorpion to come out.
Okay, so that's cool. So so then that that explains it. But when he finally showed up and they started fighting, I thought it was dope. The way that he used his ice powers and he sliced him, and then the blood flew up and he froze the blood and it stabbed him. Way that you saw it in the trailer, but still, that's just something cool that I would have never thought of doing anything like that, because the blood is a liquid, and anything liquid can become solid when you freeze it. So I thought that was pretty dope. Another one of my likes, I like the fact that the fighting was great. The way that Jax lost his arms,
that was true.
And it's like, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, why didn't he scream? But then I'm like, he was probably in shock, because he froze him first, so his body is probably cold, so he'd probably be numb, so he couldn't feel it, so that was,
felt that fall, though.
That was pretty cool. Huh?
Oh yeah, he felt that fall, though.
I'm pretty sure he felt it. Yeah.
He didn't land like Wonder Woman, that's for sure.
Exactly.
No, he sure as heck didn't. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty much it for the likes. Okay, so the dislikes. The story was just like, people can say what they want to say about the 1995 version of the movie. Like, Annihilation was trash. The first one, even though the movie wasn't like great, I still have it still has a special place in my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the first Mortal Kombat movie we've ever seen. But the thing is, the story itself was focused. You know what I'm saying?
And it's pretty close to the original too.
Right. It was focused on Liu Kang. Shang Tsung killed his brother. Right. Liu Kang was on a mission to find him, but along the way, he runs into to Lord Raiden, and then he hears about a tournament. So the only reason why he's in the tournament, because he's like, I need to avenge my brother. So he had his motive. Sonya had a motive. Everyone else had a motive to want to, Johnny Cage, he wanted to prove himself that he wasn't, a wash or wasn't a has-been anymore, and blah, blah, blah. So it's like everybody had a motivation to be in the tournament, right. But the main focus was on Liu Kang and his journey,
And then in the first one, Sonya Blade or Kano killed Sonya Blade's partner, which was her motivation, and that and that stuck to the original story of why she's even part of the tournament.
Exactly. So it's like it had those. So you know why everyone had a stake in that tournament, and you actually had a tournament. This one,
I was about to say that it didn't even.
They didn't even do the tournament.
Mortal Kombat.
They talked about it the whole movie, and there was no tournament. It was like, okay, you fight this person, you fight that person, I'm gonna fight this person. And I'm like, but that's not really a tournament. I mean, like in the 95 version, it's like, and I hate to compare the two because I know it's two different, but it's like Mortal Kombat, it's about a tournament. That's what
and what's even funnier is that in this movie, they talk about cheating their way so that there's no tournament that even happens. So
there's no tournament at all. Yes.
So
it's kind of like, we don't want to have a tournament. We just want to screw up everything before there is even a tournament. So it's like
a movie about a tournament.
How is it stop a tournament? A movie that's named the tournament that you don't actually have the tournament?
And then the thing is,
and you're trying to stop the tournament from having
right? And you feel that Earth fighters is no comparison to the fighters that you have. You already won 9 in a row, so now on the test when you want to cheat. Yeah, that part of the story, it just didn't make any sense. It really
so that to me was just the biggest. And I agree with when you said the movie moved fast in terms of like the way it progressed, but at the same time, I kept watching like, okay, when is this gonna be over? Like, like it's like So Zack Snyder's Justice League was 4 hours long, but it didn't feel like it. When it was over, you're like, man, I want more. But with this movie, it was under 2 hours, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, y'all, like, okay, y'all, what's going on here? Like, you know, like it was just, yeah. And then, like you said, the main character, the character it focused on, and I don't mind people, you know, making up original characters for films as long as they're interesting. Because remember, you know, Machine, you brought up Marvel. Remember, Phil Coulson was an original character,
Right?
you know, but he became so beloved, you know, that they ended up adding him into the comics later, you know, but he was added specifically for the MCU. But his character was written well. He wasn't like in the movies, you know, but he was inserted. He was written well. His character
all
became
up in
lovable.
the videos.
They
You
made
know,
the
a TV
movies.
show, Agents of
exactly.
Shield,
Like
Come to
fucking
Marvel.
and they
exactly.
made
You don't want your characters all up in the videos,
Yep.
all up in the movies.
Should
Come to Marvel.
And the thing is,
And even
and like you said, with that character, they made a whole show around him, Agents of Shield.
yep.
Yeah, man.
And
You know?
and even
Just a
going
good character.
backwards, right? And even going back even further, Harley Quinn, same thing. She was made for the animated series. You know, she was just supposed to be in one episode, but because the character was so interesting, people were like, "Yo, where's our Harley Quinn? Where's our Harley character? We want to see her back." You know, and now she's one of the biggest comic book characters ever. You know what I'm saying? No, you know, right now, especially with Suicide Squad, and then of course, Captain Margot Robbie was huge. But the fact of the matter is, I don't mind original characters being created for something as long as they're interesting. Cole, he started off interesting, but then it was just like,
bro.
Okay, man. I mean,
he was like a piece of a plank of wood, bro.
Yeah,
centered in the movie.
Exactly. And that just didn't work, man. And then the whole and I was laughing when Danny brought up the Arcana or whatever you call it. To me, that was just like something that was written for plot convenience. Like they didn't want to show how they develop their powers. So, okay, you develop Arcana and you got it. Like Jax's arms, for example, it was like little skinny little pieces of metal, and then everything just started developing on his arm. I'm like, what?
What if he didn't have those arms and he found his Arcana before that?
What would he have grown his human arms back?
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, that was just a little silly to me, man. Like, I don't know, man. That to me, that was just like plot convenience. And then of course,
and why one eye for Kano?
Right.
Why not both his eyes? I just
think
like
you said, going back to your question, if he didn't have his eyes scratched out, would that have been his power? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it was all just too little convenient for me, to like with Jackson, his arms. I want to see them build his. I want to see them build his arms. You know what I'm saying? And then when he was fighting the dude on the bridge, I'm like, to me that fight just seemed like them rock'em sock'em robots that just rah, ha,
Bro, it was so quick. It was quick. Like there was no interest. There was nothing interesting about the fight. It was like, hoo, 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 clap,
work, and he walks off. I'm like, okay, is that it? Like, yeah. And then who else is the Sonya fight where she actually fought Kano was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was
cool,
good. But again, knowing their rivalry, the fact that it took so long, and the fact that they were working together at some point, it's like, and I know sometimes rivals have to work together for the greater good per se, but to me, that
enemy
that
of my
kind
enemy
of rivalry
is my friend kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of rivalry, I don't know. Like, yeah, to me that just didn't pan out for me. So yeah, I mean those are the biggest dislikes. I mean, I have a couple of other nitpicks that really doesn't really sway me either way, but those are the biggest things for me. So Danny, you go ahead and do your thing.
All right, so I don't have as many likes as you guys for the film. Like, honestly, I went into this movie having high expectations. Like, I was like, they have the money now, they, probably got good writers and all that good stuff. And, I was just really amped up for this movie. And when it started, the beginning of the movie was like the best part of the movie for me. The battle between Hanzo and Bihan, and just seeing that rivalry and seeing like Scorpion's reason for hating Sub-Zero because of what Sub-Zero did to his family, like, and even the fight scenes with Hanzo in the beginning, whooping up all them dudes and just tying this little sword to a rope because it was convenient, and him just taking these dudes out. Like, bro, it was fantastic. It was phenomenal. I was just like, ooh, this is great. Like, if the rest of the movie is gonna be like this, we are
the
in
setup,
for a treat.
Yeah, the setup.
I was like,
it was
wow,
like
that was like, you got. I came in with high expectations, and when I saw that opening scene, I was like, oh man, this is going to be great. And boy, I got hit down minutes later because they introduced the character I did not know. I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And the only thing is that they put that little writing at the beginning, and then you see him with the yellow gloves, and then you're to assume that he's from the lineage of Hanzo. So maybe he's the person to fulfill the prophecy, I guess. But if you didn't read that part, if you put your head down for like a minute or something like that, because you were just like going nuts over that beginning scene and you missed that, you would have no idea who this guy is and what he's there for. And I was just like, okay, this introducing a new character, was like, whatever. The other like was that fight scene with Jax and him getting his arms removed. I thought that was dope. That even that scene where you see the snow falling and you just see Sub-Zero come in on the street, icing up the street, pulling up the ice, just throwing it at the car.
That was good too. I forgot about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
That was super fun, right? But then after that, man, it just got slow. Those are my only likes, bro. Like, some of the graphics were great, and even the end fight scene, but even that was too quick for me. I felt like, okay, it's gonna be a mix of likes and dislikes because it's just they're all intertwined. Because
intertwined,
the fight scene with Sub-Zero and Scorpion was great at the end, but to me it was short. You know what I'm saying? Not as, I guess, climactic as I wanted it to be. And then it was like the middle of the movie was like kind of blah, just trying to find your arcana. And I was just like, oh, this is just so, ugh, right? And then all of a sudden you have fight after fight after fight after fight after fight. I'm like, you didn't even, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, mix up the fights a little bit type of deal. It was just quick. Like the one with the dude with the hat. What was his name? Kung Lao?
Kung Lao, yeah.
Him, that right there was crazy when he tore the girl up into two with his hat. I was like, whoa, that was crazy, right? But there was only like little bits and pieces of moments. There was only little moments that you had those type of things. And then some of those other fights, like Jackson was really fast. Sonya one was cool because you understood that she could already whoop him already, even with Sarkana. She was not afraid of the guy with this little laser eye, and that was kind of cool. And then I don't know, man. Like Liu Kang, to me, I loved him in the first movie. Like you said, that storyline was so good in the original movie. To where now in this one, it was kind of like, bro, like honestly, I wanted more of him. I would have rathered him be a descendant of Scorpion's bloodline, right? Instead of this other guy, right? So that you see Liu Kang, like that type of deal. You could.
And that's crazy. I forgot he was in the movie. That's I didn't even mention him.
You got his little flare kick and then the dragon, and it's kind of like,
I actually forgot. Wow.
Yeah, even he was a little soft because I saw this meme the other day that had a picture of Liu Kang in the first movie and said, "This is the Liu Kang, the original Liu Kang." He said, "Forget this one, he's soft." like, like, oh well, shut off the light.
I was just like the whole marking thing. There was just a lot of things that, for instance, you had Sub-Zero kill off his family. You didn't really know what the beef was. Hanzo was Japanese, Sub-Zero was Chinese, because at one point Hanzo was like, I don't understand anything you're saying right now to me. And he's just telling him, I'm taking out your lineage, blah, 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 in Chinese, right? And you don't know, even though, like, I want to know what the backstory is. Why are you so hell-bent on killing Scorpion's entire family, his bloodline type of deal? So that right there, I was kind of like, you know what, you got to give me more of that in order for me to understand. And even the markings, you saw Scorpion, his marking, it didn't leave because I'm assuming Sub-Zero already had a marking, so it didn't transfer to him, right? So now he disintegrates and you don't know why he disintegrates. And then you find out that there's another realm, right? Later on in the movie. So not only do you have another realm, but you have Offworld and then you have Earth. So are there more realms? You know,
Right.
or like what happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you die by somebody who has a marking, do you just go to the nether realm and your marking doesn't go to the next person? Because when Sonya killed Kano, automatically she got the marking on him, but Kano's still dead. He didn't disintegrate or go to another realm, right?
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
for instance, Sub-Zero, he died. He died by someone with a marking. Goro died by someone with a marking. Who else died? Katana, she died by someone with a marking because Sonya already had the marking at that time. And
Not
then you
Katana,
see them disappear.
It was Melina.
Melina, sorry.
Yeah.
So you see them disappear to somewhere else. So are we to assume that they go to the netherworld because they were killed by somebody who had the marking, right? Or are they dead? Because the way Shang Tsung was talking, it was like, yo, these cats, yeah, they might be dead here, but somewhere else they're not. So
Right,
I
yeah.
guess you can bring them out of the netherworld by some way or some means of, just like you can go from off-world to Earth. So there must be a way for somebody to travel to netherworld or something like that.
Right. I think that's what he's hinting to. Like, okay, just because you kill Goro or you kill these people doesn't mean that, you know, they're not going to be part of the tournament or whatever it is. So, yeah.
So even that, I was just like, you know, it was just a lot of what ifs. You didn't really understand what was, to me, I love the video game. I love the first film, you know, and even that one was more clear cut. Like I said, you didn't really have a tournament in this one. It was like, okay, let's make a plan. You fight him, you fight him, you fight him. Like it was just so random. And then Raiden just puts them into place and then they just start fighting. And I was just like, I really felt like this could have been a better story. And like you said, they only had 50 million, bro. But I don't know if you've ever seen this this YouTube. So I don't know who did it, but it was like a YouTube short film or short episodes, and it was called Mortal Kombat Legacy, right? And in that one, to me, the storytelling was amazing in that YouTube thing. It's called Mortal Kombat Legacy. If you've never seen it, for those of you watching this,
check it out.
And
it's
you
really
can
good.
tell these people didn't have money, but they got some girl from Star Trek Deep Space Nine to play Sonya. But even the Sonya that was in this movie, I felt like she was just so blah too. Like her acting was like, I don't know, man, it was subpar.
Yeah.
But they had who's this guy, man, that played Spawn?
Oh, Michael Jai White.
Michael Jai White. He played Jax in that YouTube one.
Yeah.
And bro, when I tell you that the storytelling was amazing in that one, and they didn't have a buttload of money, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, I was hoping for something like that because even that one was a lot more realistic. Oh, and even, bro, another thing that I was like, why are you putting these one-liners in there from the game? Why are you saying Kano wins when he's holding the heart in his hand? Why?
A little too on the nose.
Why not make it feel as real as possible? Yes, we love the game. You don't have to remind us that this is from a video game, like fatality and you know, it was just like, seriously. The only one that I wanted to hear was "Get Over Here," and that was it.
Yeah.
And then he started speaking Japanese again.
But the thing is, the Kano wins would have been better in the context of the tournament. So if he was fighting someone in the tournament and he wins, and then whoever was moderating says Kano wins, then I would get it. But him saying it after some random basement fight, it was just like, that wasn't the place to do that.
I was like, why are you putting it on? We don't need that. You know, we already know. Just let's try to make this as real as possible, at least in my opinion. So I was just like, okay, whatever. Arcana thing, as I talked about, it's like Metachlorian counts when George Lucas put that in the first 3 movies when he did the new movies for Star Wars. He just put something in there to figure out how you can be a Jedi instead of just saying, okay, you were somebody who was born with powers, you have a marking, and you're meant for this Mortal Kombat, this blood sport or whatever. Like this is your purpose to fight for Earth. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Raiden created a place to be like, okay, let me go find this person. Let me gather. Raiden could find them. He found the baby. Like, why was it that Liu Kang was going to search for them? Raiden could have just shadowed down his lightning and pulled them into his cave place, whatever. Like, seriously, it would have been better. You know, it didn't have to deal with those type of things, in my opinion. What else? I said that Sonya's acting was trash. Oh, there was no Mortal Kombat. Wow, yeah, that's great. No combat of nothing. You're trying to cheat your way in, like Machine said. It doesn't make sense. Why are you cheating if you won 9 in a row? Like, what are you afraid of? And maybe it's
Exactly.
because, the bloodline of Hanzo is now, recognized. But still,
But the
why?
thing is, they didn't
Why?
find out that the bloodline was still alive until afterwards. They already decided they were going to
Yeah,
cheat,
so
and
it was
they
just,
were trying to kill all the remaining warriors that they have. But I'm like, because none of them compared to ours, and that was before they found out that there was a
I was just like,
Hanzo bloodline still alive. So it was just weird. They didn't really connect the
Yeah.
dots very well, and with this added plot or story, they it didn't do it too well. So I mean, well,
again,
what?
I would have
Go
rather
ahead.
it focused. I would have rather it focused on one of the characters that we know and love. As I
yes.
said before, if you're gonna add a new character, and the thing is, because I mentioned Phil Coulson before, let me
Add a
just put
new
it this way.
character as a B character, not as the
Exactly.
head
That's what
character.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. If you're gonna add a new character, let him, especially if you're trying to do a series, then introduce him here. Let it focus on like Liu Kang or somebody. Introduce him and then build that character up. And if you're in the third movie, where it's like, okay, now we know who this guy is. Now we can root for him. And like I said, if he became popular, maybe to add him to the video game later on. But to me, I'm just like, if you're gonna add a new character as the main, and he's gonna be just this guy that's just there, and he's forgettable because like,
Well, like Rashid said, like his power was kind of like, okay, now you
what
have
was his power? Like,
well,
It was like
if you look
it's
at
almost like Black Panther,
yeah,
like
but
Black
where
if
he
you
Panther's
just
look
gets
power.
a suit.
when the sword was in the flame, right? You saw those things twirling around the sword, like wrapping Scorpion's sword. So whatever that was wrapping around his sword, kind of wrapped around his body.
Right.
Oh,
And so
okay.
pretty much when
And I was kind of
Goro
like,
hit, when
yo,
every time Goro hit him in the places that
yeah, it was like
Goro
charging
hit,
him.
it was charging up, and it is like
Okay,
it's like
okay,
Black
okay,
Panther.
okay.
So he releases the
Yeah,
charge, like it's so I'm like it's just like Black Panther's power, like his
I
suit,
was
what
like,
his suit does.
Yep.
whack.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
It
and
was
then
trash.
and then I wish
And instead of being purple, it was blue.
yeah.
right.
And then I wish
Really,
Sonya
bro?
would have did the kiss of death. Like they said, she shot the rings out. Which I was
Yeah.
like, her move is to like at least like I said, Annihilation was whack, but at least she picked up the powder and said and blew it at the dude. I'm like, okay, she did the move, But here it's like, did she even do the leg thing in this one? Because in the video
I don't
game she
think so.
does it. So I know
I
in
don't
the
think
first
so.
Mortal Kombat movie, that's how she killed Kano. Like she was on the floor and she
Yes,
did the leg
yes,
thing and she
yes.
brought him
Did the
down
leg
and it
thing,
broke his
yes,
neck.
yes.
But I
No,
don't
she
remember
didn't
her
do
doing
that.
it in this one.
No, she didn't.
I'm trying to think, but I don't. Yeah,
It was mad forgettable. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
yeah.
mad
I mean,
forgettable. Like, it wasn't. It was. I don't know, man. To me, it fell short, big time, big
yeah,
time.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and then towards the end, this is my theory. When they showed that Johnny Cage poster, that dude looked like The Rock to me.
oh, yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I gotta look at it. I gotta look at it again.
Maybe I hit the nail on the head. And the next film, because honestly, they're assuming that this movie's going to do so good that they were preparing for the next film, since they didn't even have a Mortal Kombat in this film. So I'm assuming the next film will actually have the Mortal Kombat as they're gathering more people.
I'm hearing that it as far as box office wise, that it did pretty well. Of course, considering with the pandemic, because Godzilla vs Kong did really well in theaters, despite the pandemic. So I'm hearing this one had a good opening weekend. So if it makes the money, which it probably will, because a lot of people overseas, they eat the stuff up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then we might get a sequel. Hopefully, we'll get a better writing and
the thing is,
but
I heard depending on how successful this movie is, they're on slate to have actually 3 more movies. 3
more.
They have a lot. They have
3
a lot
more.
of work to get caught up.
Boy, they better get in
Yeah.
some new. And I'm worried that it's gonna make the numbers because of the hype, not because people thought, what I'm saying, it was good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but see that
I don't know.
with a lot of movies, that have sequels, they fall into the sophomore failure type movies, because people are always willing to watch a movie for the first time because of the hype. So if they say, oh, this is something new, whatever, people will watch it and they'll have their different opinions about it. But then now when the second one comes out, now they're like, okay, let's see if I really want to watch it, depending on how successful the first one is. So they're watching to see how successful this one is. But the thing is, because it's the first movie, people are going to go out and watch it, and have their opinions on it. And if it falls short with a lot of people, and then another movie comes out, people may not. They say, okay, it's the same people that's doing it. They may not be in as of a rush to go and watch the movie, or say, I'll wait for it to come on DVD, and I'm not spending whatever.
No lie. After we're done with this episode. I'm gonna go watch a whole bunch of different movie reviewers and see what their thoughts are. Because if I'm the only one that's feeling this way, or if we're the only people that are feeling this way, like I was seeing people like, well, this is great, this is an awesome film, and I was like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't see it. Yeah, I just don't. I don't. I mean, it had to, from the beginning. It just had the potential to do so much with that. But like I said at the beginning, the setup was good, but just the follow through was just botched,
the setup was off. Because they released the first 7 minutes of the film on YouTube. So when I saw it, I watched it. I watched it.
Really?
And I'm like,
the first 7 minutes.
The first 7 minutes.
Wow.
Was released on
the whole first
right.
fight. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right until.
I would have been sold if I would have saw that.
Because you didn't.
That's why I was hyped because I watched it. I thought you knew.
Yeah, Bihan.
I didn't watch it, bro. I wouldn't.
Yeah, when Bihan killed, like from where Bihan beats up Hanzo and kills him, whatever, they didn't show that part. But right until he shot and hit the wood, and right when he about to pull it out to scratch Bihan's face, they cut it. That's where it cuts.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they showed the first 7 minutes. So when I saw it, I was like, yo, man, and I was really hyped about it. I was like, man, this is gonna be good.
Man.
But then it's
I think they did that. I think they did that to get people hyped for the movie because they probably knew
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen a lot of just fans out there that's saying that this movie is whack, this movie is crap, and the thing is, again, knowing I tapered down my expectations really because I was like, okay, to me the money is a big thing because the thing is the bigger budget you have is the better writers you can hire, the better.
It depends though. It depends.
No, it does depend, but the chances are better when you have a bigger budget. Everybody got to start from somewhere because sometimes you have a small budget film and it's written so well. That's how you get the bigger budget. You get what I'm saying? Later on, because now people want to pay you for your work. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I was expecting it to be good, but I was trying to say, okay, I don't want to put it on the level of the amount of action and the CGI, the level of CGI that you would see with Avengers, like even with Godzilla and Kong, because Godzilla and Kong was that was a pretty big budget film, but the CGI on that was pretty good. It was the details on different things of that nature was really great. So and then based on what I saw, the little that I saw with Sub-Zero and the his the effects that he had in terms of in the overall movie, I was like, man, it looks really, really good. But then seeing how they spaced out in his story and some of the other characters, and I was just watching the movie and I was just like, no, man, I was just waiting for something to build up my hype back up again in the entire movie. I was just like, it was funny. I looked over at my wife because she watched it with me. I was like, what do you think, babe? Because I'm trying to get her. She was just like, I guess, so everyone has kind of like,
they're like, yeah,
it's okay. We're on the same path,
Yeah.
My wife is a really avid movie watcher, the same as me, and she played the game too when she was younger, so she kind of had a certain expectation. She was like, I guess she had that, the emoji that goes like this. That's how kind of feel about it, So.
And that's one thing I don't like, especially like when I watch movies. I think I told you guys before, like when I watch a movie, I either want to know how I feel about it. I want to know that I love it or know that I hate it. I hate that middle ground where you're like, well, it had some good parts, and that's how I feel about this movie. It's like it had the potential to be so good, and it just fell short. And it's like it's frustrating when somebody has potential to do something good and they just don't. That's kind of how I feel about this movie. It's like everything was there. You had the characters, you had the lore. You have, even though the budget was small, you could have still done, more with it,
a better story at that,
at least had a better story written, but, it's like, so everything was there, man, it just didn't yeah, it just fell short. So yeah.
Okay, well, since I went first, I'm going to go ahead and go first with my ratings. So let's do this. So with all that being said, or what I said previously, I try to taper my expectations with the movie due to the budget, which, like we already established, that doesn't even matter technically. But um, I didn't really like the character Cole. I didn't like his placement to me. It was irrelevant in the story. Um, I'm disappointed in the Sub-Zero and Scorpion transaction. I think it could have been a lot more than that. Uh, the the Arcana thing. I mean, all the things I would mention. I didn't see Outworld that much. This didn't really go based on the storyline. So overall, I gave the movie 2 matchsticks. So sorry.
All right. Since I wasn't second, I'll go now. So pretty much just to piggyback off what you said, and again, as I mentioned before, with the main character, if you're going to introduce a main character and let a new character and have him be the main, he has to be a lot more interesting than he was in this film. That's the biggest, letdown for me, honestly, because again, if you have a character in the movie, you want to care about the character, you want to remember him, you want to feel his pain, you want to worry about him, you want to care, like, if he makes it out of this alive. And as I felt none of that. I didn't feel anything for him. And then, as you said, the Sub-Zero and Scorpion, their rivalry, the rivalry of the bloodlines that was set up in the beginning, and it was pretty much non-existent until the end. So that's another thing. And then, of course, as Danny mentioned, with Sonya, like a lot of that, it wasn't just her acting. It was like a lot of the acting was just outside of Kano, who, as I said, to me, he was a highlight of the film because he had me laughing. Most of the time he was on screen, but other than that, the characters weren't really interesting, which kind of sucks because, again, I've loved these characters as a kid. So, overall, like I said, outside of the fighting scenes and Kano, there's nothing really much there for me. So, yeah, I gotta go 1.5 out of 5.
So I'm in agreement with you guys, other than the fact that the first, I guess, 9 minutes of the movie was like the best part to me. That everybody got to see outright. Just it's not only Sonya's acting bad, Cole's acting was bad too. No lie, like it's just I don't know. It just didn't hit for me. So I am going to give it 2 matchsticks as well because it just didn't hit for me. So subpar at best. Sub-Zero subpar.
There you go. It's a lot of subs, man.
A lot of subs. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's already on the movie. Let us know if you enjoyed the movie. If you agree with us, cool. If you don't agree with us, it's still cool. Just let us know what you think, how you feel about the movie. And we'll discuss it. We'll have this conversation with it. So we just want to thank you once again for joining us on this episode of Movie Match. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Once again, we want you to follow us on Instagram. We want you to follow us on Facebook. We really, 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 really want you to be a part of our conversation, a part of the Movie Match family. And again, on YouTube, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you'll know when we have another video that comes out. We're looking forward to hear from you. We got a lot more movies to review, especially this summer. There's a lot of things that's coming out, and we're so excited to be able to talk with each other and talk.
It'll be a good summer.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good summer. So once again, we thank you for joining us. Until the next time, be easy, be safe out there.
Later.
Peace.